Welcome back, everybody. Thank you for joining me here today so that we can discuss Final Destination 3. So, in this edition of Final Destination, we have a group of people hanging out at an amusement park. They're having a great time. One of the characters, played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead, starts to get some weird vibes, especially in regard to this giant devil statue in front of the roller coaster they're about to go on. But she puts it to the side and takes some pictures and just tries not to be a wet blanket. But as they get closer and closer to getting on the actual ride, she gets weirder and weirder feelings. And eventually, once the ride starts, those weird feelings prove to be true as there's this horrific accident. There's the roller coaster crashes. She and all of her friends perish. And then, boom, she wakes up strapped into the roller coaster about to take the ride. And she realizes that she was hallucinating or having a vision. In seeing that, she demands to get off. Some of her friends make it off. Some strangers are pulled off in the ensuing chaos. And then, of course, the roller coaster does crash, and now we know that Death's design has been, bypassed, and that's the story here of Final Destination 3. So I really like Final Destination 3. I love the roller coaster opening. I think it's amazing. I think everybody that rides roller coasters has had those like fears about something going terribly wrong. So it's like a really universal, relatable, concept. I think overall the story here is like a little bit thin, but I think that it works because the kills here are fantastic. My God, some of the best in the series. I know a lot of people have like from Final Destination 2, like the logs falling off the truck as like their most memorable or like most traumatizing thing. But I think for a lot of people, it was the tanning bed scene in Final Destination 3. Absolutely brutal. They did a great job with it. It looks brutal. It looks just completely hellish. The way they put it together and made it happen like made sense, and it wasn't just like a completely random Rube Goldberg type thing like it is at times. But that tanning bed death scene is, immaculate, an all-timer in horror for me. But then you also have like the motor chopping the guy's head off. You got the really cool like they introduce like having like a second premonition that like re-kicks things off again, which is kind of interesting. It's got a crazy subway scene. There's just some really well thought out, well executed deaths in this movie. And I think that makes up for the kind of like thin storyline. And if we're being honest, the cast in this, especially once you get rid of some of the more interesting, colorful characters toward the beginning of the of Death's design being avenged, it starts to kind of, get a little, the characters aren't really that memorable. And so I think the deaths definitely help in that regard. Mary Elizabeth Winstead is like the big star power here, and I think she's okay. She just kind of looks like, I don't know. She just kind of looks like, just kind of blank expression most of the time. I don't think it's a bad performance, but it's not really like nothing here. The most memorable thing here are the kills, which I guess is kind of the point of Final Destination. But anyway, I think the creative deaths definitely take this one over in the amazing like roller coaster beginning and the subway. But anyway, I think this is a really fun, really enjoyable installment of the Final Destination movie. And to me, caps off like the first three together, I just think are a really good like package of movies. I think it I think it falls off a cliff with 4, but I think it's able to recover somewhat after that. But I think 1 through 3 are just really solid horror movies. And I really like Final Destination 3. That tanning bed death chef's kiss. What a masterpiece. Anyway, thank you for watching this review. I do greatly appreciate it, and hopefully I'll see you soon.